How not to create unity. So, conversation came up at my church this weekend, and the pastor was up, and he was talking about unity, and it was a good message. You know, especially when you think about leadership. If you're leading a team, if you run a business, if you have a position of influence, right, over a group of people, helping in charge of leading a group of people to a common vision and mission, right, to a common goal. And so the conversation with unity, it was a good one. The message is great. Like, it's important when we talk about leadership. It's a big piece of being an incredible leader, a championship leader, is unity, right? It's culture. It's how do you get men and women of all different ages and cultures and backgrounds and education and training, and how do you bring them together, and then how do you unify them with the purpose of attaining a common goal. And it's much harder than it sounds, right? It's not as easy as it is you'd think. But I know one way that we do not create unity. So pastor, he pulls up the stool, because it's a serious moment, right? And he's going to get as real and vulnerable with us than he ever has since he's been with the church, and you know, says it's going to be uncomfortable, and maybe even more comfortable for him than anyone else, right? And then he just starts talking about how the church is not there yet. They're not unified. He doesn't feel that the unity inside of the church feels like it is where it should be, right? And then he starts to just list off different instances of reasons why it's not. You know, he talks about incredible changes and shifts that have happened in a short amount of time with the new leadership. He talked about how a lot of the old leadership is completely gone and is left. And gossip, he mentions gossip. And you know, he mentions a few other things, right? He kind of gives a laundry list of reasons why. He talks a little bit about there being cliques inside of the church, I guess, like, you know, which is very natural. Church this size, it's a good size. It's not necessary for where I live. I guess you would consider it a mega church, but there are other mega churches out there that are much larger. But you know, it's a good sized church. I don't know if maybe let's say there's 2,000 people in the church. Very natural for people to hang out with people that are like them, right? That have similar interests, that maybe grew up in the same area, maybe that work together, whatever, right? As people, we gravitate towards those that we can relate to and that we have commonality with. So as he's talking about this message of unity, he then goes into how the church is not united, and here's all of the reasons why, but he doesn't dig into any of them, right? He just kind of throws out some blanket statements, and essentially just, in a way, he doesn't really even say it, but says that, like, you know, we need to do a better job of being united. But at the same time, I feel like he's driving if there's a wedge present, he's continuing to drive the wedge deeper and make the divide bigger by how he approached it, by not really taking a ton of accountability and responsibility for himself as a leader, right? So as a leader, if you want to unify your team and people, it always, every day of the week and twice on Sunday, starts with you. And if there's not unity inside of the church, if there's divide, then it starts with you figuring out ways to fix that, not by throwing blanket statements out to the group or to the team or to the business or to the organization about things that are creating the divide, and then not going into depth and detail on that, and not coming up with a plan or some solution on how to get through that, and not by pointing the finger and playing the blame game, right? If there's a finger that should have been pointed, that finger should have been pointed right back at himself, and to own and take responsibility and accountability for that, which then would get some buy-in from the rest of the church to do the same thing, right? To maybe start to look inward to themselves as well, to see what are some areas and some ways that they could individually, each one of us that was sitting in that auditorium, and to be like, all right, I can respect that, and what are some ways that I can help to bring this church together, to unify this congregation, right? So one sure way not to create unity is to sit up in front of your team or your business and say that there's a divide in the company, that it's not united, and here's the reasons why, and essentially you guys just need to do better. Like, no, it comes straight from ownership and leading by example, and getting out there and doing things that you would like to see everyone else doing as well, to help to bring the team, the organization, the congregation together. So that's what I got for you. If you feel a divide inside of your team, or if you'd like to just continue to strengthen and tighten the unity inside of your team, it every single time starts with you. And when you can stand up in front of that group and you can own any of the divisiveness that is going on, right? Any of the shortcomings that you might seem to feel that are present, and then you can open a conversation and a dialogue. And this isn't a one-time shot, right? This, like, you don't just have one conversation and voila, like, now we're united. No, it's a continual process of communication and leading through example. What are the ways that you would like to see the team coming together, and what are some ways that you can show that through how you act and lead on a daily basis that will slowly get others to follow suit, right? Because we're always being watched as a leader. So unity is absolutely important, especially if you want to go do things, big things, and accomplish big goals. And it's also very, very important how you go out and you create that, and how you communicate that. So that's what I got for us today. Let's go.